Well, hey, back for another one here. Two-stall garage. Got a Suburban, 1974 GMC 25 Hondo, super custom, 454. Tell that because of the grill. Suburban. What am I doing today? Well, it's not what you might think. So let's get into that. For those who remembered, it's got some bad body panels on it, so on and so forth. The new body panels are up over there. Are we putting any of those on right now? Nope. Well, what are we doing? Well, I'm probably going to do something that questionable at best. I think I'm going to drive this thing this winter. I know. Breathe that in one for a minute. Second. Yeah, you heard. I'm going to drive this thing in the winter. Why? Couple reasons. First of all, I was doing some work to the Silverado here yesterday, winterizing it. I don't like what I see underneath there, and I want to try to preserve that the best that I can. So I figured, hey, this thing has got absolutely no rust on it whatsoever. What's the point in letting it sit when I can just, spray some more of that junk on there and maybe get it through winter, and then it gives me something to work on, and I get to drive a Squarebody all winter, all that fun stuff. So that's what I'm doing. But I gotta fix some mechanical stuff on it. I got stuff to give it a tune-up. I think that carb is running really rich. Actually, that Edelbrock, I think it's a 750 or 700 or something, might get pulled off. I got a quadra junk up there. We might pop that back on because I don't think I need anything major. Got a brake line that's busted up, popped, leaking. I tried repairing. List goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So I gotta just start getting into it and get it ready. This carpet, nope, has nothing to do with the Suburban. It has something to do with Angus. Going in Angus. Gross. But not right now. Not today. It's in my way though. So let's get into it. Just when I get cleaned up, I have another project going on. Tools left everywhere. Toolboxes scattered. Just stuff everywhere. Never fails. This guy's supposed to grab these freaking crossing lights and he never did. Those are going back outside. This was supposed to get sanded down and painted. Sealed, whatever. I don't know. It's wood. Those are parts that I got for the Squarebody and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, gotta find my creeper and get underneath there. So, smushed underneath this beast because it's kind of tall. Plus I'm on a creeper. Yeah. It's got some crustiness. Bad brake line. That was the repair that I attempted to make, and you can see it's dripping. It's dripping. So I got that copper clad line stuff for it in union. And what I want to do is replace the whole thing from here all the way to the back. Which, let me show you that. Which that runs from here all the way back into that union right. Can you see it? Yeah, right up in there. That's what we fixed on Power Tour 21. So we just got a hogwash of a bunch of parts in here, in pieces. And honestly, for sitting outside with, on grass, it's not too bad for what it is. So the right thing to do would probably be to totally replace that line from the back to the front, from the unions to non-unions, but it's been spliced in so many times, and it's probably going to be 20 feet of freaking line just to get from back there and route it up into here. Would that be the right thing to do? Yeah. Should I do it right now just because it's going to be the middle of winter and snowing out and I'm going to blow a brake line and have to fix this outside in the snow on my back in the cold? Probably. What do I want to do first, though? I want to look at that union and see why it's leaking and why. Just why. Did I flare it wrong? Probably. Can we fix it? Maybe. Let's see. Also, I'm going to juice up the bleeders just to get them soaking, get that process going. You know, we're going to have to bleed the brakes. So back up top, I have this piece of brake pipe. You know, the iron copper clad one. I've tried to use it on a couple different projects, and as you can see, it's a little bent up, but it still works, and it's flared at the end. That's neat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a measurement from underneath. I got a union, that loopy piece, another union, straight piece, another union, back into the rear brake line distributing block. I put that one in back in 21. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to just take out those two chunks, the loops and everything. We're going to take this, measure it out, cut it to length. And you do got to chop the end off because it's a little wobbled out, weeble wobbled, for those who can't see it. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get a fitting on this end because it's a little cattywampus and chewed up, but I'm going to try because it's already flared at the one end. Then I'll just have to flare one side. Anyways, I'll do that here and see what we got. First, I'm going to jump underneath there, yank out those two batter unions. See if I can use the fittings because I think we're going to need to use the fittings and see if we can fish it on this line. Well, we're dripping out of there. Broken apart up here. I'm going to pull this guy over there off here too and let it soak for a minute. And then we're going to just replace from there to there because like I mentioned, that is all new line. So I'm going to get out from underneath here. We're going to reflare this up and yeah. Well, you can see these are the ends that were underneath there. That flare is not very good. I'm actually surprised it held up compared to, you know, what it should be. It's not very good. Two reasons for this. One, I was underneath there in a bank parking lot, you know, trying to use this whole setup. Put this in there, flare it up, and make a flare. If you don't know what a flare is, flaring tool, it's basically you got the size of your hose there, and you can take your little push downer thinger, and then you, as the hose is in here like that, it forms it to this. It presses in there, and then you get something like that. Well, this is the one that I've had forever that works really well. This is the one that I had on Power Tour, and it's a Harbor Freight one. It doesn't work as good. Maybe I was using the wrong size. I don't know. I don't think so because I think it's all 1/4 inch. But you got to get it a certain length, and apparently I didn't have it right. So what I'm going to do is the fittings that I had came out of there are those two. Probably, I don't know, maybe we'll reuse them. At least that one. Found a couple of the iodized black ones. Dropped one on the floor here. It's a little longer. Need a little support. But anyway, we'll flare it on there. Of course, if you put it on this way, it's backwards. You want to put it on like this. And then you flare it, and then it sits in there, and then it screws on to the union or whatever fitting, and there it's flared. That's how it works. Since I got not a lot of meat on here, and I'm going to leave that bend in there, probably going to use that one, maybe. Maybe I can get on it. I don't know. I hate doing these things. We're going to do something like that, see if we can get it to work, and hopefully it works. So, there we go. I got about that much meat on it. Give this a little turn, press. If you look close, you can see it starting to form to the shape in there. So, that's the idea. You know, it's kind of hard to do it one-handed and record. It's even more of a pain in the ass to do it underneath a vehicle when you're trying to get in there with the frame. How's that go again? You know. Anyways, I'm going to figure this up and move on. There. That was not bad. Don't want to overexert these things because they can and they will split. Then you're in a world of hurt. But yeah, I'd say that's a pretty decent one for, if I can ever focus it. There we go. Pretty decent one. So I got my hand marked. I'm gonna use this little tool and cut the end off, flare on another one. So, as you can see, got the new line installed. Now we're gonna bleed the brakes. I've had them soaking now for a couple days. I'm gonna try to get in there and crack that bleeder valve right there and just let it gravity bleed. You always want to start with the furthest out wheel cylinder and then work your way to the other side, then to the fronts if need be. But yeah, we're just going to gravity bleed these. Seems to work out pretty well. Also noticed my rear diff is leaking, so we'll have to check the fluid on that. A little bit of anti-seize on that, which I might as well do right now while I'm under here. Frickin' easily distracted. I got up here, popped the hood because I was gonna, you know, put some fluid in the reservoir. And I'm like, you know what? I got a block heater that was on my compressor that I had for a while. Got to find a good place to put it. So just set it right in here for right now. It's on top of the water pump. I'm gonna see how that does up there. Aluminum radiator. Not gonna be able to kind of stick it on there. It's got a magnet. We'll see how warm that gets. Just really want the coolant warm, and then that way it kind of circulates the coolant through. Easier starts. If not, we'll just stick it to the oil pan and run an extension cord, call it good. But let's start with there. So back to where I was, checking the rear diff fluid. All right. Pretty simple. Check these. Take your 3/8 ratchet. If you got an extension, you can use that or just use the end, but apparently I have a super duper long one. And I should just, yeah. We did change out the fluid during power tour. Before power tour, I should say. But, oh. Haven't checked it since. So usually you want to just, oh yeah, we're nice and full. It's up there, it's clean, it's good. I'm not gonna worry about it. Do have some anti-seize. This stuff gets everywhere, but make sure our threads are nice and anti-seized up here. Put this back in. All right. Come on. You'd think I'd have something a little easier to get that. Oh yeah, you can tell that. Way down. Way down. All right. All I got is synthetic, so it is what it is. So we're gonna top this off. Best way I know how to gravity bleed brakes is you just leave it open. crack the bleeder, and when it starts dripping and it doesn't have bubbles coming out of it, close it. Just monitor your master cylinder, and you're good. So I'm gonna go crack that one open, and we'll start bleeding it. Lock. It's 5/8. Oh, come on, don't strip. Oh, remove it. Oh, it went. See that? Oh, it's dripping already too. That's good. Okay. Don't strip it out. Oh yeah. So work them back and forth a little bit. Yeah, that freed right up. That's good. So I'm gonna let that crack it open a little bit more. Let it drag or gravity bleed down here. When all the air bubbles stop coming out. Oh, nope, I can't do that yet. Well, there we go. When I don't see any air bubbles coming out of that drip, and it's just a solid drip, then we'll know we're bled. You see those bubbles are coming out of the system. I cracked it open pretty far to try to let the stuff flow. So once it's done doing that and it's a solid drip again, we know we're done. Okay, both sides are bled. Just constantly topping that off. Top it off here one last time. There. Should be good now on brakes. So I popped the radiator cap off. I don't know if you guys can see down in there. Let me flip the light on. I don't know. It's down like 4 inches, 5 inches. All the corrosion up here, it's from this cap. Looks pretty nasty. Try to clean it up. Probably get a replacement cap. I don't know, whatever. So let's top off that fluid. Overflow still have some? Yeah, overflow's still actually pretty full. So we'll top it off just because we're here. Move on to our next thing. I'm going to pull the plugs out. We'll see how they're burning. If you remember, we replaced the push rod in number 2, so we're going to pull that one out first. Double check and see how it is. So we just pulled out number 2, and you can see it's very rich. She's very, very rich. We put her through a lot of paces. So yeah, I ran the AC Delco in here, the R44Ts. Might try putting something a little hotter in here, see what it does. Of course, we can always tune on the carb, but yeah, definitely going to go around and change these suckers out. So I had these ones from the GMC that I ran that are AC Delco. I guess I cheaped out and bought some Autolite ones, Platinums. We'll try to run these. If these don't do well, if Burt's kind of pissy, we'll throw the AC Delcos back in it, but anything's better than that right now. So I'm going to go through, change all these out, go from there. And these actually aren't that bad. I actually just looked at one. They are, I didn't even label them. See, they're not bad at all. So I'll save these for backups like I have been. Throw them in if needed. Maybe throw them in the glove box. Well, I ended up stripping off some of the rubber off of this spark plug boot. So I got my hot glue gun. I'm just going to hot glue it back together to keep the water out of it. All these plugs pulled out of there. They all had the same story as that first one. They're just richer than rich. So well, I definitely have to do some adjustment. What I'm going to do now, you saw me unplug the block heater thing here. And that's all it is. It's pretty simple. Magnetic, obviously, stick it anywhere, but had it right here because I figured that would be a good spot to, you know, water pump, you know, circulate. It's been on there for like 30 minutes. It's not even warm. So I think the problem was surface area, the magnet. I mean, this thing is freaking hot, but the surface area on that was not, you know, making a good enough contact on there. So we'll just mount it on the oil pan, and then we'll just hopefully heats the block up from underneath and calls it good enough to keep this thing, get this started up in the winter when it's freezing cold. So I'm going to finish knocking out these spark plugs. I got to do the driver's side yet. And if anything interesting comes of it, I'll let you know. Okay, pretty much, well, I do have all the spark plugs done, both sides. I just got to actually pop one back in on this side. I don't know. Had to do another hot glue on that other side. Anyways, onto the battery. I'm going ahead and, you know, making sure to get a lot of the good old petroleum jellies on each of the terminals. Then I was like, you know what? I got to get in here and take care and treat the battery box. So I got my CRC marine spray stuff. So I'm going to go ahead, coat all that stuff, coat all the, yeah, just this whole area, this battery box area, protect the battery as best I can. Then I'm going to take some hose, old radiator hose, zip tie it around the terminals, hopefully keep corrosion out. So that's what I'm working on now. Fun. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and plug this back in before I forget. Okay, there, clipped. Shake. Probably a good thing that I'm in a non-ventilated area. Take the battery, why not? Sides of that. Lift that guy up. I'll just do it all right up. Put you back in there. I'll do this side up here. Because why not? The more the merrier. Tie down. Let's go ahead and get you all so you don't seize up. It's almost like I've had to do this before. Huh. Weird. Okay. I did absolutely nothing. Cool. Thought I had a tie or something on this. Flip it upside down. I don't know. I just got here. Why are you yelling at me? Oh yeah. I couldn't get it to work, so that's why I got a strap. Is that even tied on? Just loop-de-loop. Okay, well, I guess we're just going to put that back on because I don't feel like really making anything. It's apparently what I did before. Well, I've seemed to have done it now. Yeah, where'd you go? We're stripped out. So, yeah. Now, Burt here has had I don't know if these must be factory. They're missing some stuff. Missing a lot of stuff. And, you know, it's the ground lug right to there. Do I have another one? I don't know. I do have on the shelf these majiggers that I got for clearance. I might try to run one of these on, but then we're the side post and we're kind of the same thing. I don't know. So I don't even know if I have side post on here. No, I don't. That's why I put those adapters on there. Well, let me dig around and see what I got. While rooting around, lo and behold, I had this topper poster thinger laying around. So we will use that. I did have another cable ground strap somewhere. I just don't know where it's at. Good enough. This will work. Too short. After I snipped it off, we only reached about here. So that wasn't going to go on there. So I did the right thing and just, you know, the extra super long one that it was on, we use that. Put the other ground for the radiator support in there. And, you know, starter lug. Surprisingly, if you flip it upside down, it actually works really well. It's nice and secure. So there we have it. Extra long cable. I even have this to mount somewhere, I guess. So I'll find a home for that. We'll button all this up. We'll cover that up and hopefully be done. All right, so now we're all secured up, greased up, lubed up. I might take a paint marker, mark, you know, plus minus on them, but whatever. Now I'm gonna move on to this fuel filter. I got a plastic one under here just so I can see what kind of crud was coming out of there, and you can see it's kind of getting cattywampus from the heat and everything. Don't want that to break, so I got the little quick service fittings. Got a bunch of these Purelator metal ones that should work out a little bit nicer, a little bit better. I guess the only downfall is I won't be able to see what's going through it, but I'd rather have a metal one in here than the big giant plastic one. So change this out really quick, see if I can figure out maybe routing for the line if it's any different, and go from there. Yeah, new fuel filter is installed. It's a lot nicer than the other one, honestly. Now I'm going to move on to finding a home for the heater. I got this brake line over here soaking. I'm going to fix it and actually put it in the frame rail. Looks like somebody just kind of curly cued it in, and down here out of the contortioning valve, they chopped it off and they didn't install it right. So we're going to install it right. Maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Let's find a home for this heater block. Well, I guess there it is. I don't really think this thing is supposed to be a permanent fixture on here, but where else are you going to do? Thought about maybe putting it here or like right here, but I think vibrations and all that will be pretty good. So now let's hook an extension cord up, seal that up, run the cord underneath here. I think I'm going to run it through the frame rail, kind of up out of the way. Maybe up here and up front so we can plug it in. I don't know. Sure. Like I said, ran down. It's out of the way of anything that's going to get hot or cut it. Tied up. And I ran it in front of the radiator. Came through underneath here, comes down, and I just kind of got it loosely tied up here. That way we can be cool and just plug it in, and then we can just let it flop when we're done, or it can flop there and whatever. So now I'm going to start on this brake. looping it back through the frame rail. So it would appear that the line is rounded off on this side, and that's why they kind of left it like they did. And did all that crazy, you know, loopage through right up there. So now I'm gonna try to get in here and fight this with some vice grips and, you know, strip it off. And then we'll try to get that back. There's another nut up in there. You guys can see that. There's another nut up in there. We'll have to try to get that off. I enjoy laying on concrete like I always do. Yay! So I couldn't get it. I stripped it out on this side too. Tried taking some vice grips to it. I couldn't get enough grip on the inside. I gotta take the death wheel, zip it off, but I'm too lazy to do that right now. So the hose that's in there works. I just kind of put a piece of heater core hose here so that hose doesn't rub up there. Zip tie that down to the frame. Call it good for right now. Now, if this was something that the missus or whatever was going to be driving, yeah, I'd probably fix it. It's just me. Whatever. So anyways, moving on now, we have to address our windshield washer squirter. Well, what do you mean you gotta address it? It's right there. Hello? No, we're not gonna address it like that. That's only like half gallon or something. A lot of the more modern ones are, I don't know, gallon, 2 gallons, 5 gallons, something like that, for windshield washer fluid. So I'm at least going to double the capacitize. I got an old bottle laying around. Thinking we're going to do something like that, somewhere in there. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. But other part that I need to figure out is if I can plumb them in together so I don't have to come in here and flop the top from this one to this one. Whatever. If I got to do that, I do that. Maybe we'll put it in like that. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. That's what I just told you. Maybe we'll do that. Let me think on it. Well, I guess it's a theory anyway. We'll see when and if it works. All I did was put a T in there with some vacuum line, ran it over to here. So I'm thinking this one gets totally emptied. That one won't pick up because it'll have vacuum and suck it through there. I don't know. We'll see. I'm guessing that's probably what's going to happen. If that's the case, I'll just block off this end here and we'll just use the one and switch them back and forth. Okay, so now we're going to adjust this carburetor, lean it up some because you saw those plugs, they were pretty fouled out. All I got is my vacuum gauge, so we're going to vacuum gauge it up. We're going to hook it up to this port, get the thing up to operating temp. I'm going to jam in the idler screws, come out about a turn and a half. Turn and a half. Then we'll just play with the vacuum, driver side, passenger side, tune it in, and then we'll see where that's at. And hopefully that calls it good. But first things first, we got to get this beast warmed up. Yeah, fuel leak. Huh. That ain't good. Looks like come from the carburetor side. Well, maybe. Well, let's fix that. So I guess for whatever reason, that hose is not, it's too big, it's too thick. Not a little smaller one. I left it kind of longer so I can adjust stuff, whatever. Anyways, let's get this thing fired back up and let it warm up. Probably can't hear me very well, but got my vacuum gauge hung up. I'm going to adjust those. I'm going to mess with it till the vacuum moves up just as much as it possibly will go, and then drop back down. Do the same thing to the passenger side, and then we'll just tweak it from there. Now, real test is going to be shut it off and then fires back up when you just hit the switch. Call that good. Okay, well, I've discovered a couple more issues that we're going to have to fix. First of all, I'll let this garage air out because damn, it's smoky in here. Anyways, we got all up to room operating temp. Fuel leak is gone now. You know, running nice and warm like we should be. We actually might have to put a different thermostat and get a little warmer. We'll see. Hit the brakes really hard. Checking. No brake fluid drips, so that's good. Pedal firmed up after a little bit. I did have to put about 2 quarts of transmission fluid in it because that was low, and it would appear that my hot glue down there is hot gluing, you know, can't hold up to the temp, but it's fine. It's fine, it'll burn off, won't need it. Also, my choke has no power to it. So every time I go to do stuff, the choke was partially choking like it is now, which that ain't good. It should be wide open. So we're gonna dive into that. I think I put the relay on it because I had some kind of an ignition 12-volt source up here, but I don't remember what it was. But I remember putting that relay on there. And I think that's where I ran the choke power to. I don't know. Then I forgot that the heater switches broke off, so we'll have to fix that. I got the parts to fix it. I'll just have to rip it apart. But I need a sandwich or something. So I devised a plan for the choke. Went through, got my multimeter out. I don't know what I did with it. Just testing all the prongs. That's where I'm getting power from. The relay just clicks it on from an ignition keyed source. Sends it down a wire here, puts it to there. Pretty simple, right? Not so much. Because this was a relay that I had on there. And apparently it burned up. Not only that did it burn up, now my ignition switch is not working. So I think when this burned up, it blew whatever the ignition wire was that I had running through there. And I'm too lazy to go through and figure all that out. So what I did is I threw on another good relay, one that's more amperes is. I found the trigger wire, which was the blue wire in the harness. It's spliced into that, as you can see right there. And now what I'm going to do is run it over here to my fan motor, and I'm going to steal this little ignition, not ignition, yeah, I guess it is ignition. Come on. Anyway, so this blower motor, it's always running. Even on low, it's always running. It's fine with me. So that means I always got power going through here. All I need is a trigger to hit that relay to flip it on. That top prong right there, when I hit the multimeter on it, when it was full bore cranking, it was like 10.9 volts, and low, it was at like 11 point something. That's plenty enough for a trigger to turn that on and off. And with the key off, there's no power here. It's good. So now I'm just tapping into that, and I am using wing nuts because I'm being lazy. And we'll see if it works. If it works, holds up, then at some point I'll probably come back in here. Nope. Just leave it as is, drive it. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. So now, as you can hear, the blower motor is on because my ignition's on and it's on low. Trigger wire is installed, ran over there, relay is on. The key is going to be is that this is hot and it's warming up. So we're good there. Let it sit here for a minute. Make sure the relay doesn't get hot, which I doubt it will. But yeah, my choke is warming up. That's important. We want chokes for when we're choking this thing in the winter. So there you can see after a couple minutes, the blade's doing what it needs to do. And yeah, that's a little warm, but eventually that gets to a point and it shuts down. My relay, not even hot. So relay was a problem. That was a problem. Yeah. Also, I did go ahead and kind of create a PVC breather. I was a little tired of it spewing out oil right here onto the manifold, and you can see where it was leaking right there. So I popped the breather out, took one of those 90s from the purple car, from what we use on the heater core, ran some heater core line up it over here, and I just put it into my breather that was in there, hung it upside down. Eventually, I do have this giant catch can right here that we'll put somewhere in here. I don't know, maybe right there, probably right there if I'm thinking it. But I got to get some fittings, and then we'll just tie it into there and actually leave that as is. You know, because we got the high horsepower 454, so we need all the breathing we can get. Well, there we are. We are all engine bay buttoned back up. Still got plenty more to do on this one. We got to put mirrors on it. Got to undercoat the vital areas that are going to see salt and everything else. Fix that heater core. Install some more weather stripping. Get some weather. I got a lot more stuff to do, but I think that's going to do it for this one. Please like, subscribe, share, comment below. Angus. Nope. Burt. That's Burt. I'm so used to working on Angus. Sorry, Burt. Don't leave me stranded. See ya.